The gap between your commitment and your fear is where action has to take place, right? There's something in there between your commitment and your fear. And if your commitment is greater than your fear, you're going to take action.
Yeah.
So the key is really to build up that side of my commitment is greater than my fear. And then you're just going to stand in that place, that horrible place where your heart is pounding and you feel uncertainty. You've been there. I think most people have been there.
That's such a good point where your commitment is greater than your fear. I think a lot of us, our fear is so much greater than the commitment.
Yeah.
Like I was in a place where, and it shifts all the time, but majority of the time my fear is always greater than my commitment. What would you say to deal with that, or to kind of push the commitment up a little bit more?
Yeah, good question. I think it's mainly to bring it out into the light. So write down what am I committed to? Like, why do I want to pursue this? What are the results that I want to get? What is the impact of those results on the people that I care, on myself and the people I care about? And then what is my fear based on? Like, what am I afraid of? Am I afraid of failure? Am I afraid of getting hurt somehow, or going through some traumatic experience of failure?
Yeah.
Once you bring those out into the light, usually you'll find that if it's something important enough to you, you'll find that the list on the commitment side will be much bigger than on the fear side. So I think that's one of the best ways. Yeah.
I need to do that, because a lot of times my fear is so much higher than the commitment, and then the scale is just so unbalanced, and I'm like, okay, push up the commitment a little bit more, but I'm gonna try that. Writing down the commitment. Why am I doing these things? And just keep adding to the list, and just keep repeating it, keep building that confidence. And I think, as you said, it will like push the scale a little bit.
And another technique is to look back at something in the past that you have accomplished when you faced your fear, and then use that as a reference point for doing something, moving forward, looking forward. Because usually you could look back to something that you accomplished when you stepped through the fear. And then you could say, okay, I did that. How does what I'm facing now look in reference to that? So I did that. Can I do this next big thing? And if you can find an anchor point there with something that you've done in the past, then that can also help propel you through that uncertainty in the future.
That's a good tip.
Yeah.
See, I'm like remembering all these things because I want to try it.
Well, luckily it's recorded. So.
Yes. Event, right? Yeah. I'm gonna try these things, and a lot of times it's always these simple, these nuggets that I remember, and I get better with the personal development, the self-taught. Like these little things has helped me so much, because I can read all the books. I'm like, there's still a missing piece, but all these tips that you shared, I'm gonna use these.
Great.
This is
What do
good.
you think that missing piece is, though? Do you think it's action in general? Or you say the missing piece?
It's when I say the missing piece, it would be the reference point, for example. And it's really good, because if you remember how you felt in a certain way, and as I shared before, like if you were fearful, like if you were afraid of something, what pushed you to the limit to even take the risk, even though you were afraid, an accomplishment or something like that, because you took the risk, the accomplishment that you got of it, the feeling, like relive it, to be like, hey, if you just take this step, you can get on the other side, and this is how you're gonna feel when you get on the other side. So I think that would be the missing pieces, like really, as you said, like looking back to what that was. And try to relive it, whether it's good or bad, because there's something good that can come out of it.
Now, a big challenge with fear is that sometimes your perception of the fear is not based on reality, right? You see something, I don't know, you see a monster where it's just a puppy. I'm just exaggerating the metaphor, but you see something that's not real. You have a distorted view. So the question is how to confront that. Right? Because there you can't look inside your head and get the answer. So that's something that's big. Not all the answers are in your head. We don't live in our heads, we live out here. So the question is, if you try to assess your fear, and you have a distorted view, it's hard to catch that.
Yeah.
But if you can catch it, then it's important, I think, to share that with someone. It doesn't have to be a therapist, it could be a friend, but someone to help you put the fear into a perspective. Make sure you're not distorting the fear.
Yeah.
If you distort the fear, that could be an obstacle to action.
Because then also when you have the fear, you start having these hypothetical scenarios building up in your head.
Right.
So you're saying, talk it out, write it out, just let it out.
Right.
Okay.
And one of the big things is you distort the consequences of failure. So we were talking about cultural, what failure means culturally, or lack of reaching the top, the pinnacle. You might say, oh, my family will not love me anymore if I fail. They won't respect me if I fail.
Yeah.
But that is most likely a distortion. So that's where kind of these things come together.
Yeah.
And it's really important not to distort the fear, because then you'll always be stuck in that gap between fear and commitment where there's no action. And you have to overcome that in order to move toward action.
So keep pushing yourself.
Keep pushing yourself, but work through the fear.
Yeah.
What are you afraid of? What are you committed to? And then try to assess whether the fear is real. Is it just made up?
Yeah.
Do you think that a lot of people mistake fear and danger? Because I think it's two different things. I think sometimes we kind of associate fear with danger, and then we get scared. But we got to realize the fear is just like you said, it's inside, it's not really outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was thinking of the acronym for fear. It came back to me.
Yeah.
Some people use this acronym: false evidence appearing real. So I don't necessarily believe that all fear is false evidence. I think some fear is legitimate, but that is one way to frame it: false evidence appearing real, to kind of remind yourself, okay, let me assess, is my fear real? Danger is real usually, right? You're on a safari, the lion's right there, and your lunch. But this is not what most of us are facing. So that's where you have to differentiate between, is there real danger here, or is it just fear that may not be totally rational?
And most of the time it's that.
I would agree with that. Most of the time it's false evidence. Yeah.
Oh, false evidence appearing real. I'm like registering that in my brain.
So exactly what you're saying. It looks like to you take that and you see it as danger, but it's not real danger. What's the worst that can happen if you fail? You'll go through maybe financial hardship. You'll have to tell your investors that you lost their money. That one does hurt. I've been there. It's tough, but nonetheless, that's not danger in the sense of my life is in danger, right?
Yeah. Ooh.
That's fire. That's really good.
That's good.
Things ended like that. That was fire.
Well, we could just wrap it up. Thank you, Kalisha. I hope we can talk again and do more of this.
We're definitely going to do more of this. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure thing.
Thanks, Ben.
All right, thank you.